Hello everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I see a few people have logged in already. We'll give it another minute or so before we start.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I think we have quite a few people logged in today. Hi everyone again. Good morning. Thank you for joining us today for our CT Fireside. So we were organizing this fireside for the first time, where the aim is to bring together industry leaders who will share their thoughts on how they effectively grew audiences and the drivers that they used to boost revenue growth in the company. And we have an esteemed panel today who will be talking about shifting with the times, repositioning for long-term growth beyond the pandemic. As we've seen, there's been a systemic shift in consumer behavior in the past year, and if marketers are to aim for success, they must evolve their strategy from mere acquisition to building audience loyalty, and that's going to translate into long-term growth. So to quickly introduce you to our panel today, we're joined from by Andre, who's VP and Head of Growth at Acceleron, Esther, who heads product management at Paxel Indonesia, and of course, our very own Mark Antoine Hager, who heads APAC business at CleverTap. Please feel free to ask any questions in the Q&A box. Our speakers will be happy to answer them during and after the session. And without further ado, I'll hand it over to Mark Antoine. Over to you.
Thanks, Srini. Thanks a lot. Guys, super excited to be here and kind of launch these fireside series. I'm also super pumped to have Andre and Esther today with us. So as Srini said, the theme is shifting with the times, trying to adjust to these 2 years that hopefully are going to be behind us very soon. But the whole point is, when you are talking, when you're leading a growth marketing role, and that you actually need to cope with the pandemic situation, which definitely is impacting each and every one of us, each and every brand out there. How do you adjust? And the goal today is to actually learn from Esther and Andre, learn and understand maybe the things that have gone right, the things that maybe also the things that didn't work so well, so that we can actually share and learn from these different steps. So the first thing I want to do is actually get Esther and Andre to introduce themselves, but also the brand, the company they're with, and then we'll get into a few questions. So Esther, why don't you tell us a bit more about yourself and about Paxel?
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Hello, everybody. My name is Esther. I'm the head of product management in Paxel. Through the technologies delivered by many great Paxelian, Paxel is the pioneer in the same-day delivery with one-stop nationwide digital food partner ecosystem. Whatever big, small, the things that we do, it is basically to fulfill the needs of our customer, to let them have an easy life and also to earn more and faster. I think that's all from me, Matt.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Esther. Andre, tell us about yourself and about Acceleron.
Okay, thank you, Mark, and thank you also, Srini, for inviting me for this fireside chat. Glad to be here. And so for myself, my name is Andre Marian. I'm from Acceleron. So Acceleran itself is a P2P lending company. So P2P means like peer-to-peer lending platform, where we make a match between potential lenders to the borrowers that we have. And for this P2P lending industry that we have, it's more on the productive lending. So our borrowers are more on the SME side and not the end consumer side. That's going into the consumptive loan area. But on our side, we are more on the productive loan industry. So our borrowers is more on the SME side. So that's why if you are lending with Acceleran, meaning that you are helping small, medium enterprises in Indonesia to go further in their business or to expand their business. So I think that's more or less about Acceleran.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, Andre, tell us more about, the first question I have is how has COVID impacted Acceleran's business? Did you see, because companies might have needed more cash, did you see a bump in the needs from companies, or how did things, how was your activity impacted positively or negatively?
Yeah. So, I mean, like if we're talking about trends, I do believe that we are seeing positive trends for Indonesia regarding financial investment. I think starting from 2018 to the early 2020, we do see like increasing interest in investment. That's why we also see like a decent growth on our business, because our business can be seen as an investment platform as well, right? But of course, like COVID affecting our business significantly as well. So during the early 2020, when COVID first hit, especially I think during March to June, I do believe that our lenders, so on the lender side, they are starting to holding out cash because I mean, like it's like an uncertain situations, right? So I think people want to be on the safe side, so they want to hold out their cash. So we saw that our unique active lenders are going down during the early times of COVID, which is like understandable because like people want to be on the safe side. But on the other side, like you mentioned before, Mark, the borrower's side like increasing. They need more loans. They need more cash because all of their invoices or all of them purchase order are not being paid, or people are holding out on paying cash, right, at that time. So that is why we saw a significant impact to our business. But that's why we also shift our strategy and putting a more conservative user growth number. Before it was aggressive, but we're putting more conservative user growth number and start doing more retention activities, because we at that point we are more in the survival mode than on the growing mode, because we need to survive first, right? On that early stage of COVID. So yeah, I think that's what impacts us.
Okay, super interesting. So it got a bit tensed with like, dynamics of borrowers needing more cash and lenders being like a bit more cautious. So you actually said, okay, it's not going to be like a crazy growth where you need to acquire users, because even if you get, borrowers or lenders, it's going to be difficult to match their needs or their requirements. So yes, you were like, okay, let's make sure that we retain our existing users and that we keep this tough period. We go through the tough period as much as we can.
Yeah, okay, we have a shift in strategy. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And this was until mid 2020.
So yeah, so we start shifting the strategy in mid 2020, and thankfully after we shift the strategy, we start seeing our numbers grow again. So if I can tell you, our North Star metric would be like the disbursement value. So our disbursement value starts to pick up again starting July until now, after we shift the strategy. Because otherwise, I think we're going to suffer a lot if we didn't change the strategy then. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right. Thank you for that, Andre. Esther, tell us about how the pandemic did impact Paxel, and how did, I mean, I would feel that everybody's shipping much more because nobody's really getting out of home, but how did it go?
Yes, of course. Pandemic, actually, everybody will relate the same, right? This pandemic, you cannot go anywhere you want. It's not easy. That's why in Paxel, we are always see and listen to our customers, whether they our customer or not. Example, like questions that we always ask is, why do people need our service? What is the job to be done? Mostly they said is to start business, build that business to survive, to have hope during this pandemic, right? And then maybe sometimes to feel being transported to another place or another time. And then we ask again, why people don't use? Because they don't know. They are afraid. They're afraid that if they send something or food, it's going to be wasted. They're afraid that it cannot be delivered on time, or it is expensive, afraid, and so on and so forth. And also during this pandemic, why do people travel? Why they want to travel? They want to experience. They want to have that culinary experience, to meet friends and family. So in fact, so we see this and we think that what if we combine the best food, the best of travel and food together, right? Because during this pandemic, we also basically marrying the online and offline experiences as well, between their engagement in our application, also between the engagement on the ground with our heroes. By the way, we call our courier as heroes because they're the one who is on the ground delivering things to our customers. Then I'll give you an example that our customers trust Paxel say to deliver a frozen food from Semarang, Yogyakarta, or wherever in Jawa or Sumatera to Jakarta. And as you probably already know, delivering food has its own challenges. It is time sensitive. It is easy to spoil if the temperature changes. Even now, raining, sunny, all the way every day keep on changing, and food is fragile, right? So, and also during this pandemic, people are becoming more cautious about everything, safety, healthy, and other things. We must support with the infrastructure. We provide that level of assurance on the field where our hero will ensure the packaging is per our TNCs. And then we delivering it to Jakarta. We provide a clear tracking status inside our application. And also we inform them what is the temperature on each specialty. So that's why, as I said, Paxel is the parent in the same-day delivery with one-stop nationwide digital foodpreneur ecosystem. By having all that, it's not, we're giving like more trust to the customer. We gain also more trust from the customer, and also increase the engagement level and having higher retention rate during this pandemic and even post the pandemic.
Okay, but did you see a lot of increase of the activity?
Of course.
And I guess that it's not that easy for you. You don't have like unlimited trucks and heroes. So how do you cope with that, stress of people wanting to get, packages, parcels delivered, but you need to deal the demand?
Of course, the demand is definitely there. It's spike. It is by like force nature. It's coming to us. But in Paxel, we always having these values like antarkan kebaikan, in which we are here to fulfill their needs, not only for our customer to enrich their life, but also to enrich our team, our customer, our partners, and even our communities. So having that kind of spirit, core value, which is antarkan kebaikan, we manage to fulfill that demands internally by having like how many heroes that we have, how many infrastructures, having that supplies ready on the ground, it is there. And I think the next challenge is to have this keep on going, because maybe the pattern is changing, right? But so far we see there's not much declining trend on our side. I mean, we did it good.
Okay, so just to kind of link it to what Andre mentioned, so you've seen in your case, you've seen an increase of demand, and you were talking about maintaining that level. Are there specific things that you've done to retain all of those new customers that abruptly came to Paxel?
Sorry, come again?
What have you done to retain all of those new customers that came to you during pandemic?
On the retention side, because we always listen and we provide the right solution to our customers. And we also ask them all those questions that we asked earlier. They said that they trust us because we are here to be on their side, walk by their side, or run together and grow together. That trust level is what we always give since day one until now, and then they keep on coming back and keep using our services.
Okay, I get it. Andre mentioned that his North Star metric was disbursement amount. What is yours?
Paxel's North Star metric is LTV.
Okay.
LTV. Yeah, again, LTV is a reflection of our core value, antarkan kebaikan, to make their problem becoming our problem, to make their dream as our dream, to have contribute more to the community, society, and when everything is fulfilled, the retention will automatically happen. And also indirectly, we contribute to our nation as well.
Okay, it looks like the quality of service is actually very core to your values, to make sure that you provide the right product quality, the right service, and that it's going to be over a long time, it's going to pay.
Correct, of course, because we have to know, right, and understand what our customer looking to accomplish. If we provide the right solution, and then
And so I'm interested because lifetime value is a very interesting metric, because it really, you try to work not on this one transaction today, but you actually try to make sure that this transaction goes well and it will incur another transaction over time. So you actually need to understand, overall, how many transactions have people been doing, what is the average, or what is the revenue per transaction, so that you can understand how the users are doing. But how do you keep track of those metrics, and what are how do you try to positively impact them within your role?
How do I track? The track, for sure, we have the system in place in our site, cooperate with other third-party solutions as well to be embedded in our applications. That is for the online experience. For the offline experience related with our heroes, we ask them feedback directly, not only to our heroes, but also on our customers on the ground, the sender and the receiver. Those kind that we always do a review and reflection every periodically, and then from there, we see what else that what are the problems that we can help to solve it, and then what else that we can grow together in terms of their business, because we're here for them as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Esther. Andre, you've told us about disbursement amount, which is your North Star metric. Could you tell us maybe a few activities where you've seen an impact on this disbursement amount, either positive or negative? A few things that you've done and you saw a direct impact.
Okay, so I mean, like, disbursement value is like the end goal, like it's like the North Star metrics. But in order to impact this disbursement value, we work with the growth levers. And the one growth levers that I'm focusing on would be the number of active lenders, right? So because if the unique active lenders goes up, then most likely the disbursement value will go up as well, subject to the lending value per unique active lenders to be stable, right? So one activity that we do to increase the unique active lenders is by improving the M1 and M4 retention rate. So meaning that this is like the early stage of the retention after users do their first investment with us. Because we do believe that if they have like good experiences, like early experiences with us, they will retain in the longer term. That's why we are focusing on the M1 and M4 retention rate after they do their first investment. And when we hit this M1 and M4 retention rate, we saw that the unique active lenders goes up until month 8 or month 9. So, and then it drives up the disbursement value automatically, right? Because more people are still doing lending during their lifetime. So the disbursement value still goes up along their lifetime. So,
okay. As an average, how long does the lending period goes? Is it 5-6 months?
The tenor of the lending, you mean?
Yes.
So usually in average it's about 3 to 4 months, but right now it's about 3 months. So that's why I mentioned M4. So this is like month 4 after their first investment, because we want to hit them again with our initiative in this month 4 to ensure that after they receive the payout, they are investing again with our platform. That is why we are targeting M1 and M4 market. And
yeah, I understand. So
yeah.
So it's a little bit like, when you cash out from the casino, you don't really want them to go out.
Sure.
You want them to, keep playing with whatever they want, right?
Yeah, that's what we want. We don't want the cash that they have inside Aksarand to be withdrawn, but we want them to be reinvested again with our platform, because I mean, like, they will also have the benefits, right? Compounding interest, compounding benefits if they invest their benefit again with Aksarand.
Okay. Any specific campaigns that you've seen were successful to actually get people to reinvest after they've got their cash back?
So so the initiative is more on giving them cashback vouchers. Actually, if they decide to invest again, then we promise them a cashback. So that is why I mean, like, financial incentive always interesting to people, right? And we found out it to be true as well with our platform. And when we use this initiative, it's like giving us like a really huge incremental in our M1 and M4 retention rate. So
okay.
in general, I think we had an increase of, I think, around 14 percentage points. So the incremental is like, it's that big. So
awesome, super interesting. Thank you so much, Andre. One kind of, I think we're kind of 5 minutes left in the session, and I could have kept going, but one thing I'd like to maybe understand is how do you see 2022, and do you I still want to tie this up with the pandemic, with COVID, given that things are kind of easing up, that you told me people are allowed to go back to office. What are the new things that maybe you want to test, you want to try out in the market? Maybe Esther, could you tell us about your views, or how do you sense 2022 for Paxel?
Yeah, 2022 is going to be hopefully going to be a great roller coaster for us. Pandemic aside, or with pandemic, it's always being a roller coaster year for us. It's quite challenging, of course. And then in there, we see that It's not only about delivering it on time or be cheaper or like that, but we want to grow with our customer. So in that 2022, what we want is to deliver what our customers value with excellence. That is, of course, and then also to uh, grow the business itself, basically. To be with them and grow our business together. Not only how I can deliver it and how we can grow bigger together.
Okay, I see. Because if I think about it, you actually compete with super large companies, either the very big delivery companies, but also maybe super apps that we know that also do deliveries. So your positioning is very specialized, right? What is your strategy to counter those large companies?
I think we cannot compare ourselves with the biggest big players also, because each of us has our own uniqueness, because also we run this with our core value that would make us more significantly unique to the market itself. And then we just not, as I said, not deliver the product on time, safely, and cheaper, but also how I can help you to sell your product and scale up your business, because we know what they need, we know how we can grow together. That's gonna be the uniqueness of Paxel in the market, and always we cannot be defeated by something else.
Awesome, thank you so much. While I ask maybe the last question to Andre, if there are any questions, and I'm kind of speaking to the attendees, I think there's a Q&A session. I'm not sure we'll get to cover, but if I see one that's super interesting, I'll try to slide it in. Andre, how about you? How do you see 2022, and what is maybe your strategy to make the most out of this hopefully less COVID or non-COVID year?
Yeah, I think like I mentioned before, maybe during the pre-session, that I do believe that the situation for COVID in Indonesia maybe is like getting better, and that's also reflected in our platform, where we have like a steady growth of new users, new lenders, but so I mean, like the growth is so it's good. I mean, like we can say that it's good. It's a good growth on the lender side, which make like the campaign to be really really fast to be completed. So meaning that more lenders than borrowers right now. Like this is like a happy problem, meaning that we have lots of lenders that are ready to invest, but the borrowers right now, we believe that we can improve on the numbers of it. So that's why in 2022, we believe that our focus is more on improving the borrower side. Because as soon as we open up more borrowers, we do believe that our disbursement value will jump, because we have like this group of new lenders that are waiting to invest, but they are finding it really hard to find new campaigns right now, because it's like being completed really fast right now.
Okay, makes sense. I mean, that's definitely a good problem to have a lot of.
This is like a happy problem.
Awesome. I mean, I'm sure that when things open up, a lot of people and a lot of companies are going to be willing to invest more, to innovate, maybe to try other regions and expand their services or their products. So as I think it's about how you're going to be able to scale those needs and make sure that the flow keeps equal and steadily growing.
I mean, like to adding on that, we are preparing new products as well for the borrowers in 2022. So expect more borrowers with new products next year.
Cool, awesome, exciting.
Yeah, exciting times.
I think Srini, I see your face again. I think it means we're out of time.
Yeah. I think those 30 minutes went by in the blink of an eye, but lots of interesting insights. I think what really came through was having those North Star metrics in place when it comes to retention, but couple that with a lot of empathy for your customers. I think that's the way forward for brands in order to reposition themselves for long-term growth. I think that was the theme of the session. You guys covered it perfectly. Any parting thoughts, guys? Okay, great. I think our audience found a lot of value. Just one quick poll from my end, in case you want to know more about what we at CleverTap are doing. If you want to get in touch with somebody at CleverTap to understand more about what we do, please you can say yes to the poll. I'll give it a minute. In the meanwhile, Mark, any concluding thoughts from you?
Yeah, I mean, as first of all, I feel bad for not introducing CleverTap, and I think that should be one of my next steps. I've been maybe focusing on Paxel and Acceleron too much, but I think that's a good thing. I think that what I've heard was super interesting. Having the right metrics, understanding customer behavior and quality of services that you're giving them, and also what Andre said, from one North Star metrics, what leads to that. So kind of leading indicators to impacting, what is most important for you. Same same for Paxel, like really trying to focus on one specific thing that is going to impact, LTV. So in Paxel's case, it was really the ability to serve and provide the best quality for the service. So focusing on, it feels like obsessing on customer quality and service quality is key here, and that's what led to tremendous growth even through those difficult times. I'll stop talking.
I think you summed it up perfectly, Mark. Thanks again for joining us today, Esther, Andre, Mark, and Juan. And to our audience, keep an eye out on our LinkedIn and follow us for more such events. If you want to talk to anyone, please write to us at marketing@clevertap.com. And I think that's it for today. We'll see you at our next one.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Talk to you soon.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone.